let's move on from Annan and look forwards now towards what's happening this weekend. Of course, everything starts, and Mitch, I'm assuming you're going over now to catch a bit of the under-23s for
Yeah,
tomorrow
no,
night.
yeah. Well, the obviously we're team managing on Saturday night, and Dickie spoke to me sort of 3 or 4 weeks ago and asked me to um, act as the ACU rep tomorrow night for the under-23s.
Ah,
So yeah, I'm on the ferry now. I'm heading over to Calais. We're probably about halfway. It's a little bit rock and rolly at the moment. Um, and yeah, so yeah, I'll get a couple of hours in tonight and then finish off in the morning and then be there for sort of midday. I think the first jury meeting's about 2 o'clock. Make sure the guys are all okay. And I think some of the other lads, I think Sean and Chris's crew are coming over to support the under-23 boys, and maybe Zach and his team. I know Andrew's not arriving until Saturday morning, but I think Zach and his team are coming over tomorrow night as well to support the under-23 boys. So we want to, as the senior riders and management, we want to try and give them as much encouragement as we can.
mm. Have you packed your blue shirt?
I don't own a blue shirt.
You had it confiscated years ago.
No, no, I'm not on the ACU, Gareth. I keep telling you this. I'm working for the ACU, but I'm not in the gang.
Freelance mercenary. Yeah. Well, let's have a quick look at the lineup here then for the under-23s. There's some names here that we know very well, having seen them racing in places. So it's a decent lineup, strong-looking lineup for Friday night. Jeffrey Sebesma from the Netherlands, Timo Vax, who's had some long track experience, I think. Timo and Fabian, I think, have both been in the long track at some point. So uh, Tim Widera, who I've never heard of. Jordan Derrick is our rider. His first time, I think, riding abroad for Jordan. So it'll be interesting to see how Jordan goes. Jan Glautene from the Czech Republic. Bjorn Borsma. Noah Erder from France. Nick Meyerink from the Netherlands. And our second British rider, Eli Meadows. Theo Agoni from France. Kevin Look from Germany. And then Mitch's, British reserve for Saturday night, Cameron Taylor is there. Sebastian Adian from Germany. Tino Buan, quick French rider. And then at the bottom there, Danish rider, of course, came third in the challenge, Patrick Cruz, who I would imagine starts as the favourite because Patrick has been in amongst it all year.
Yeah,
I
that's where my 50p is going, Gareth.
think you're probably safe with that, to be fair. I think,
But
Patrick, I think your quickest rider potentially in that lineup is the second reserve, Lester Mathiasen.
yeah, well, Leicester has proven to be fast, of course. Has only done one long track meeting in Ainrum, but the guy is really fast. He's working hard on his speedway, and he is good. He's riding with German license, and I was surprised to see him there. But yeah, if I look at the Dutch guys, at the under-23 guys, all three of them are yeah getting there, but they need some more experience. For Jeffrey, it's the last time he can compete. Um, I don't have really big expectations for the guys. Nick Meijering at the moment he's in a good form, and he can get somewhere. But I think if they are if we have one in the final, then I would be surprised, honestly, due to there's a very strong lineup there, and I hope the guys will do their utmost best and gain experience. And most important for them is to have fun, and then results will come. But we are working on getting the guys better for the future, and they all really need to do experience on these big tracks and slick tracks. Vector is also a slick track. It's not a track we're used to. So I hope they just go out there, have fun, gain some points, and then we'll see in the end where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts on the Russell? I'm going to come to you because of I know you've talked about this a little bit before. So we've got obviously our British riders here: Jordan Derrick, Eli Meadows, and Cameron Taylor. Vector's going to be a big leap for them, I'd imagine. What are your thoughts on how they might fare here with this lineup?
I think the same as Patrick, to be honest. I think it'll be good experience for all three of them. Um, I think Cameron's probably obviously our strongest rider, but I'm sure Jordan won't be too far behind him. He's progressed really well this year in the UK. That'll be a great experience for Jordan, and obviously Eli's ridden there before as well, so he's got a bit of experience. So yeah, I think all three just need to go out there and enjoy it, and again, like Patrick says with the Dutch kids, just see where they end up at the end of the night and go from there.
Mm. It does feel though Patrick Cruz is a step ahead of everyone, doesn't it?
Well, June, the other
Yeah,
thing
He's a
is,
big favourite.
G, is that he's only just turned 18.
Yeah.
So realistically, he's got, he's in the under 23s. He's qualified for next year's Grand Prix series, but he's got 4 or 5 years left in the under 23s, which is absolutely crazy. And he's absolutely fearless. I mean, I was talking to Gary, that was sort of helping a little bit with Patrick and Jakob in Morizez, and he's got no fear, absolutely no fear, and he'll ride the fence. He rides the socks off it.
Yeah.
Where do we start? I think he struggled a little bit at Oothausen because I think he was a little bit out of his comfort zone, where it got a little bit rough and a little bit deep in places. But on a slick track, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And with 4 or 5 years in the bank to, he's going to be a favourite for a long time if he can stay fit and healthy.
And he's a great
Absolutely.
prospect.
The
has
thing
he got
is,
2 bikes now?
Yeah, yeah. They
You go,
bought. Oh no. So he's using one of Gary's as the spare,
yeah,
and the other
okay,
bike he's actually using was the Eric Gunderson
Eric's,
replica.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I think they're really enjoying their long track and grass track racing, and the other thing for this under 23s is this, and it's very good that it's a Vector because Vector's a track that it's not like going to a track that they're never going to ride again. This is a track that they can grow on and learn, and they learn to respect the track, learn to know how it rides, learn how the start gates work, learn where the grip is, where the grip isn't, how the track develops through the night. And some of these guys will progress and be in the World Championships in future years, and they'll be on this track again. So this is not just experience of the event, but valuable experience of a World Championship track.
as well, Mitch, we've been there, various times, and we see what they did a couple of years ago, where it was, 3 days before the meeting, it was absolutely a ploughed field. I'm trying to think whose dad showed us.
Finhager.
Vin
Uwe
Hager's dad,
Yeah,
showed us the photographs, and you
yeah,
couldn't believe that the track was as hard and packed as it was. So,
yeah.
depending on what weather they've had and what kind of materials on it, it could act totally different than than being mega slick,
You're
as
right.
anticipated.
You're right. I think Glenn, as the race director in these kind of events, he likes a slick track. He doesn't like too much dirt. I think a slick track tends to um, eliminate some of the crashes that you get on a grippy track. I think it limits the quality of the racing. I think when you've got more than one line, you get much better racing. It's much better for the crowd. Um, but we've been there like last year. The solos were just up
Yeah,
to the fence, literally backing it into the fence. Back wheel touches the airbag, and then they find that little bit of grip at the bottom of the bag, and then they go. Chris is an expert at that. We'll get onto that in a minute. But I think Cameron is, I think after his injury at the Masters, if it had been a rough track, he might have struggled. Hopefully, with this being a pretty smooth motorway surface, it won't aggravate his injury, and he'll be all right for Saturday, for Friday and Saturday.
Got speed, Cameron. He's definitely got speed. He's a bit fearless as well. The way he rides his
Yeah,
bike,
he
he will
doesn't.
definitely get his elbows out.
He doesn't mind chucking it in.
Mm.
I think he's going to raise a few eyebrows. He wasn't scared as a 16-year-old or 17-year-old. They they took him to Tetro and chucked him around Tetro, which
Yeah.
is generally for like the very experienced riders that have got some know about bike control and stuff like that. And bless him, they just they put him around there, and he did pretty good round there as well. So.
Yeah. He's a good rider. He's been a good club rider for a long time. It's good that he's not sort of rushed. That he's not been rushed. It doesn't feel like he's been rushed really, Cameron. He's a slow burn, I think. which is good. So, yeah, well, that'll be interesting to keep an eye on tomorrow evening anyway, to see how it all goes. And a lot of the riders there, Patrick Cruz to. If we move Patrick Cruz to one side, I think all the rest of them, we will all be saying, well, go out there, enjoy yourself, see what happens. I think it's a very open field.
I think the
Yeah,
only
it's
other
fairly
one,
level, isn't it?
I think the only other one really that stands out is probably Tino Bouin. He's obviously ridden at a higher level.
Yeah, he could go well, particularly if it's slick.
It'll be
I
be a
mean,
new
he's.
champion, won't there? Because the reigning champ isn't contesting it this year, which is a shame.
Yeah,
I mean, talking about Tino Bouin, he's got Dimitri Berger in his corner. I
Yeah,
think Dimitri is about to get married to Tino Bouin is
sister.
Thierry Bouin's son, and Dimitri Berger is engaged to or about to marry Tino's sister. So I think, whereas like with Matthias Trezeru, you've got Steph and Matt Trezeru helping him and bringing him on. You've got Dimitri Berger is helping and bringing on Tino Bouin. So he's going to be a hot prospect in a year or two's time as well.
Yeah.
I think the young French lads are, they're probably going to do well, aren't they? With similar racetracks. Noah
Yeah,
Erda and Theo Ugoni, I've been following them on their socials, and they look like they've got nice styles and typical French.
I think with the
Slick
French
track riders.
with the French riders over the years, they sort of come and go in waves, and this is the next wave of French riders coming through.
I agree. And if you see them developing, and Tino was last year also in the under-20 division. He was really strong, but he ended the night with a crash. And then Noah Erda, I know him from the 125s, and the guy got some skills, and I think he will prove to be very strong as well. Yeah,
some good
and
racing, I think. We be good racing. Some young lads there who want to
yeah,
go out and have a good time, and yeah, it will be very interesting if Lester Mathiasen gets a ride, though. I really do think it'll be very eye-opening for the world of long
Yeah,
track
it would
basketball.
it would be nice to see him.
absolutely.
Didn't realise he rides under a German license. That's quite interesting, Patrick.
Yeah, well,
Don't need to
it
go
all
into
has to
detail. I just
do
didn't know that.
with them doing speedway, and we don't ride speedway a lot, of course, in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
We really at the moment we only have one track. We're getting on with the second track in Lelystad now, and hopefully we'll be getting back to Blijham in a couple of years, maybe even next year. But we have some people trying to get up with speedway. We have an exciting new project which was presented in Eindhoven, but William, he wanted Leicester to compete in a good competition in the 125s. And then they got the chance to ride the German Team Talent Cup, which was a club competition in 125 Speedway. But they only wanted to let him race with a German license. So since then, he's had a German license, and they are giving him the chances to do World Championship and European Championship meetings. But we saw it with other riders as well in the past, and as soon as they got to the senior levels, they are getting a lot of more competition, and then all of a sudden, if they are faster than the German guys, it's getting harder to get a chance. So we see it with Siebersma. He's also raced in Germany. His sister raced in Germany. And we saw it with a lot of other guys. And in the end, they all had to return to KNV, to the Netherlands, and able to keep getting their chances in European and world meetings. So that's too bad. But for his development, I think it was the best step to take him to Germany. And now he's getting on to the senior levels, and I'm looking forward to getting him back in our
Yeah,
ranks and racing the Dutch championships and everything.
I think Robert Lambert did a similar
Yeah,
journey.
yeah,
He could have a 500 license when he was younger in Germany than he could in the UK. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
looking
absolutely
forward to
true.
seeing that. I'm not sure if the under-23s is on tapes up. Is anybody?
it is, Gareth. Yeah, I was
Okay,
about to say it's going to be available on the live stream. I'm not on
uh,
commission, but it is £7.50 tomorrow.
brilliant. I'm going
Good
to have to
value.
go and
It's good
I'm going to have
value.
to have a conversation with my wife in a minute about tomorrow's evening's plans. She's going to be very upset in a moment. I'm sure she won't mind. She won't mind the one evening of grass track racing, but 2 evenings I think I'll be pushing my luck. So
Patrick's going to give you a voucher for Easy Toys, and that'll keep her happy.
We can arrange something for that. No problem.
oh, deal. There we go. Right. So let's move on to the big one then, chaps. Let's move on to the Longtrack of Nations, which is on Saturday night. Of course, Patrick and Mitch heavily involved as team managers. Before we look at the lineup, Patrick, we will just... So in our previous episode, we talked to Mitch a little bit about bringing together the British team of Harris, Vachnek, Appleton and Cameron Taylor. So really, for yourself, you've got sort of Romano Hummel, Mika Meyer, Dave Meyerink and William Croot. That's your team. So how are your preparations coming along? How did you choose your team? What was the build up to this meeting?
Yeah, of course. We've been trying for the last few years to get kind of a team together and working together. It's hard because the guys have their own plans. They are busy with their own meetings, and the personalities are quite different. Mika is doing a lot of speedway, and isn't around much. Romano is also concentrating on some other things. So it was again quite a bumpy road. Not as bumpy as last year. As last year we had a team standing almost with the same names. At first we saw Romano pulling out. Then we had Dave with some problems pulling out. And in the end, I was really struggling to get a team together. Now this year, I already spoke to them in March. All right, guys, what are we going to do? Do you want to do the meeting? And in the end, then they agreed all. And we had Henry van der Steen first as our team captain. But Henry got an injury racing the meeting in Loppersum. He broke his jaw, and he's still recovering from that, and it's too bad because I really wanted him to be there, as he was probably racing his last season. I wanted to go out with him on a high, but it didn't work out. Too bad. I hope he continues for another year. But now we brought in William. He's young. He's learning. He's getting there. He's getting in touch with the top riders in Europe, but he's still got a lot to learn. So that's why we brought him in as a reserve. And I think we probably will give him a ride just to get the experience and then see what he can do. And we'll see after practice how it works. Romano, at first in the summer, he came to me and said, I'm not sure if I want to do the meeting. Vechta is not my favorite place to be after his horrible crash of last year.
Yeah.
But a couple of weeks ago, he called me and I said, hey, I'm going there. I want to be there. If I want to be in the World Championship, I also have to do Vechta for a meeting. And he's really motivated to get a good result. And Dave as well. Dave was already talking in the summer, let's go there and trying to get everybody together, making the team. And we spoke a few times with each other, and tomorrow evening we'll meet up with each other, and we're going to watch the under 23s. We're going to support the Dutch guys, help the Dutch guys, and then we'll have a good night of sleep, and then Saturday we'll see. And if everybody does their thing and performs like they can, I think we'll be a title contender.
Yeah, I think with Dave and Romano, I think both two of the they've been winning. And last weekend we were talking about, of course, Romano won at Berghaupten and Dave won at Uthausen in the same weekend.
Yeah.
And so we were saying we were almost facing a situation when they were both leaving the sport, and now we were talking about the fact that they dominated a weekend of racing on the continent.
Yeah.
And when we visited Holland in 2023, they were the two superstars of the sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when they were talking of leaving the sport, for yourself, it must have been devastating.
Yeah, absolutely, because I've seen them coming up through the ranks in the last year, and we have a lot of contact, and if you see two stars like they are leaving the sport for different reasons, And they've had some issues in his private life, and Romano, he really struggled after the crash he had in Vechta, and he said, I have a family, I have a work, a business to think about, and that's why he was leaving the sport, because and also Romano has been under a lot of pressure throughout the years. He has a big fan club, a large group of people following around Europe, all coming from his hometown, Hoogkerk. And it was always, Romano, you have to win. Winning, Romano, and it was always like that. And there was a lot of pressure. And he lost also a bit of the spirit, and he lost fun in the sport. And now in the winter, he thought to himself, and that racing is a big part of his life. And I think it's the only thing he knows. And I'm really happy he came back, and he's a different man now. He's more motivated than ever before. He's working harder than ever before. He's doing a lot of practice. He's kickboxing at the moment to get in good shape and get sharp. He's actually making his kickboxing debut in a fight somewhere in November in a big fighting competition. So that's also funny.
Yeah, Patrick, we've got a guy in the podcast that we want to fix up with Romano.
Yeah, it could be done.
Yeah. If Mark's ready to get beaten up by Romano.
Yeah, we'll see. But it shows how he's working and to get there, and he's really determined to get a good result. And Mika is kind of the quiet guy in the team. That's why he's team captain, because he has the rest, and he can talk to everybody and bring a bit of rest back, because Dave and Romano are pretty fired up sometimes, and that makes our team work, I think. And yeah, I spoke to them separately in the last few days a lot of times, going over the last details, and they're all really fired up and really want to get a good result there. So I hope we have a big crowd all dressed in orange to help our guys. And
flares, I imagine. You guys love a flare, an orange flare, don't you?
absolutely. We bring some fireworks on and off the track.
Baylor de Gasolina playing out loud.
Sure, have they?
In the crowd.
Probably.
It will be a festival.
That's Patrick's ringtone, Gareth, on his mobile.
It's my ringtone after Enram. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a festival every weekend in Holland. So I'm sure that there'll be a bit of that in Vechta in Germany. Is it a long way? Where is it, Mitch? Whereabouts in Germany is it? Bottom left, top right? Where are we talking?
It's top middle. It's near Bremen, top middle.
Top middle. Okay. So not too far from the Netherlands then.
No, it's a 2 hours drive for most Dutch fans, so I expect there to be a large crowd.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, good. Well, let's have a look at some of these teams then, because we can then start to think about what we expect may happen. I think that the track we've talked about, Vechta, can be slick. I'm just talking about the track though, Mitch and Paul. I remember it was recently in the last couple of years. I'm sure that you guys went to Vechta and it was completely different to how it had been before.
Well, I mean, when we first went there, probably sort of 17 or 18, there was a bit more grip to it.
Yeah.
And there was a bit more that you could actually use. The last couple of years, it's gone slicker and slicker and slicker. And in actual fact, for sidecar racing, it's not much fun. It's not much good. It's a bit follow my leader. I mean, we had a couple of good races, not so much last year. I think the year before with Camp Blanc and Imel Schramm. But they were sort of races that ended up quite good, but they were sort of out of desperation, really.
Yeah.
Into you go in deep and there's nothing there, and then you've got to dive bomb up the inside, and whereas the solos can put their back wheel up the fence and find that last little bit of dirt, obviously because of the sidecar chair, we can't get to it. We can't. Literally, it goes, from the inside, it goes slick, 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 slick. 1 meter of grip, and we can't find that meter. So. And the corners are quite flat as well. There's not a lot of banking there, so it's not like you can even run up the banking and run off. Like some of the other tracks, like Enrum's got that little bit of banking that you can use, and with no banking, to be honest, I wasn't that fussed when they said there's no sidecars this year. Apart from as far as the actual racing is concerned and track time, I wasn't that fussed about missing it. As far as the event is, with the big crowd and the floodlights and the big TV screens, and the actual event is awesome. It's one of the highlights of the year. But what you're actually doing on the track, it's lost it a little bit for me. I don't know if Paul feels the same.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely, it's kind of when you want to race, there's the track doesn't kind of allow you to do that. If you want to try and go around the outside of somebody, you end up going backwards. So that's what Mitch is saying. You kind of, not desperation, but you're trying your heart out, and you can be kind of like second place vying for the lead, and you go into one turn, and all of a sudden you're coming out in fourth, fifth place, and it's like, what happened there? So yeah, it's I love the circuit.
It doesn't lend itself to good racing for sidecars.
No, I love the track. We've had some good races there, but we've had some good races, but actual brilliant meetings there we haven't had. We've podiumed, but we haven't had a mega successful evening. Every time that we've been there, we've had to work our socks off to find a setup that is getting us to go forward.
And the other thing is that the thing with Vechta is that it's a little bit of an anomaly because it's so slick, and lots of people are knocking the ignition back and trying to get the engine to work from the bottom. But the thing that's also a part of the puzzle is that it's so fast. So we've been there before with a soft engine, didn't work. We've been there with a strong engine, still didn't work. You've got to try and find something that works from the start, but then is fast down the straight, and it's a real knife edge to get that set up at Vechta.
Yeah, so it's going to be, well, the solos will go through that curve. People that have been there before will have some experience, and they'll have some settings to go back on. But like I was saying before, there's nothing to say that the track is going to be exactly how it was last year. So the settings, the base settings that you've got, may go straight out the window after first practice. But it's kind of, you need various different not engines, but yeah, I guess the riders will be going with a couple of different engines in bikes just to cover all bases.
Yeah, for sure. And the weather forecast for the coming days is that there is going to be some rain, and Saturday afternoon they expect some heavy rain showers, and that could affect the track. And I hope the track is getting a little bit together, and that we get a little bit more grip, because last year there was only one racing line, and it's like Mitch and Paul are saying, it's very hard to get past someone. It's like if you got the gate, then you're there, and I hope we get really some racing, and it's for us. I know Dave isn't the best gator out there. Romano is doing quite well this year, but if we don't have the starter, it's just really getting hard though. That's something I hope they did a little bit more preparation to the track. In a couple of years ago, they were doing a lot more to prepare the track. The track isn't owned by the club; it's owned by the city council, and they're doing a lot of horse racing there and some other things, which makes the service quite hard. And in previous years they broke it up and then got it back together, and that brought a grip. But for the last 3 or 4 years they haven't done that anymore, and I think that's affecting the track, and that's affecting the racing there.
Yeah, and it
And
might
let's hope it
affect
get better.
might affect the results as well, given
Yeah.
depending on which way it goes, and who can adapt quickly. So Let's have a quick look at the teams then. So first of all, riding at numbers 1, 2, and 3 is the Danish team. Kenneth Cruz Hansen comes back into the team, having picked up that injury at Chasel. Of course, he is the reigning European champion, having won it at Enram earlier in the year. And he's joined by Jakob Bukava and Patrick Cruz, who we've talked about a lot, managed by Sven Jakobsen. A very strong-looking Danish team to start us off there.
I'd put them definitely as a top 4 team.
Top 4.
Agree.
They look very strong, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Jakob struggled at Morizets with the slick. And of course, we said at Enram we thought he would struggle and then rode really well. So you never really know what you're going to get with
Yeah,
with
but
Jakob.
in Enram there was some dirt. There was some dirt right out wide, and he found it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and it's also, I think we have to see what Kenneth can do with his back injury.
Yeah.
And is he strong enough to get through the whole meeting and to able to deliver? That's something,
Yeah.
you know, if he's fit, he's fast and he's one of the best riders out there. And with his injury, yeah, for the
If
fans,
the,
I hope he's fit. For ourselves, I hope he's having some problems with his back.
I think if the track's slick, it will help Kenneth and his
Yeah,
injury. If the track is rough, he's going to struggle.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think
Agree.
the bumps at Chasel probably were the thing that caused the problem, weren't they? It did look quite rough there. So
Well, he did tell me at Enram he had a prolapse disc,
right.
and then I think the Chasel track has just aggravated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Danish team have got a few ifs, buts, and maybes in there, but they look strong on paper. Finland is also represented by Tero Arnio, Henry Albon, and Jesse Mustonen. So a bit of an unknown, the Finnish team, really, aren't they? They, Tero can go very well, particularly, he had again in Chasel he had a couple of very, very good rides and then a couple of really poor rides. You never really know what's going to happen, and I guess the Mustonen
I
the
think
same.
Gareth, I think last year England were against Finland in the race off for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
But they're spoilers. That's what I don't think they're a top 4 team, but I think they're a spoiler team. I don't think the Mustonen has done much racing this year. Tero's done lots of meetings. And Henry Album is one of these guys that you never know what you're going to get. He could sort of win or come second in a race, or he's going to come 5th and 6th in a race. You just don't know what he's going to do. And this is one of the weak teams or weaker teams that you have to capitalise on. You have to try and max out on them. But they'll go into one race against the French or the Germans or us or the Dutch, and they'll get a heat advantage. They might
Yeah.
only get 1 or 2 heat advantages of the night, but you've got to hope that they don't all come together on your race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a spoiler.
They are a spoiler. Yeah, they certainly are. And then we've got the Czech Republic, represented by Jan Masek, Jan Hlasina, Heinek Stickhauer, and they've got a reserve in Daniel Klima as well. Zdenek Schneiderwind is the team manager for the Czech Republic, so probably their fastest rider actually is the manager. So they've got they've got some good riders there, but the Czechs have had a lot of trouble. I mean, a lot of them go speedway, don't they? Rather than sticking around to the long track and grass track.
Yeah, I mean, Henrik Stickhauer has sort of done the long track Grand Prix and European grass track scene for the last couple of years, but I don't think we've seen. I think did he do Morizes? He might have done Morizes, but he
Did
hasn't done.
Morizet, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah, that
hasn't
more or
done.
less.
Yeah, he hasn't done hardly any meetings, so I think they're going to struggle. I think they're a place 6 or place 7th team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as well, and I really don't know the guys, so I only know Heinek, and Heinek is snel, he's fast, but he can also do one heat he's brilliant, and the other heat he's rubbish. So it's really not a team, yeah, to underestimate at all times, because if it all comes together, like you said, Mitch, they can be a spoiler, but I think there are 6th or 7th in the end, for sure.
Gareth, you'll know their reserve from your Plymouth connections.
Yes, yeah, I did recognise the name. Yeah, so I've seen him on the speedway. So yeah, he didn't really like the World Up, to be perfectly honest. So we'll see how he gets on. So the German team, of course, had a massive, massive blow this week with Martin Smolinski pulling out, and it really does look like it's weakened the team. You know, Martin's the best, one of the, if not the best, long track rider, particularly at Vechta, of course, where he's fantastic. So that's a big, big shame for the Germans. They do have Mario Niedermayer. They've got Lucas Fienhager, who is, of course, right up there on the world long track scene at the moment, and Stefan Katt. And then Jörg Tebb comes in as the reserve. He was going to be the team manager, and then he's been drafted in a reserve. So, yeah, make sure you take your bike with you, Mitch, because you never know, really. But the Germans, I mean, Smolinski not being in the team is a massive, massive, a massive blow for the Germans, isn't it?
But
I
yeah,
think it,
and I was going to
yeah,
say Eric Rees as well, wasn't it, earlier on in the
yeah.
season?
I
Yeah.
think if they'd had Eric with Smolly and Finnhager, they would have been favourites. But I think with just Smolly and Finnhager, they were a two horse team. I don't think you know, Catman makes brilliant starts, but he gets swallowed up in races these days. I don't think Mario's not at that level either. Now I think they're a one horse team. I think they're going to struggle to be a top four team. I mean, they've got the home advantage. They've got the home, you know, the know-how of the home team. But they might be third or fourth, but they might not be.
Mm.
Yeah, I think as well. It's like you said, it's a one horse team. Lucas is really going to have to do it for him. He has to almost max out because Stefan is fast, but he's not getting any younger. And like Mitch said, he's making brilliant starts, but then gets passed by the other riders. And Niedermayer isn't up to great at the moment, I think. But he can be in a few years. And Jörg Tebbe, you never know. If they bring in Jörg, Jörg can do in Schaezel, the first heat, he was almost half a lap in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And in the second heat, he was trailing behind. He isn't consistent anymore. And of course, he is concentrating on the racing of his son as well. But no,
And daughter.
I think that they're going to have a difficult night. And, you never know with Germans. But in this case, I think there'll be
I
some.
mean,
Maybe,
it depends a lot on the
may,
watering.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe they'll let Stefan use his German open meeting engines.
You go. It's funny, Patrick, because in the last episode, Mitchell kind of said you never know what the Germans might do, and you've kind of alluded to the same thing. You never know what they might do, and yeah, we commented on the suspect watering of the track at Schaezel in the final, where Zach Weiknecht was made to start his race from a pond.
Yeah. I
So
was there. I saw it.
you just never know. And then if it wasn't bad enough, they got one of their riders to crash into the back of him and get him excluded.
Yeah, yeah. Something can be said for that, being an Italian referee, of course, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
What
it's
country the referee from on Saturday?
I don't know. We have a poll, I believe.
Oh, that's okay then. Impartial. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the Germans in Germany are bad, but the Bavarians in Bavaria is a different level.
Don't we know it?
Yeah. Okay. It happens everywhere, I think, and but like
Especially
in
in Stafford.
Schaezel, I'm not saying anything, Mitch.
Yeah, we've got
No, but
we've talked obviously about the Netherlands team, and we've talked about the Brits a little bit last week. We'll come back to them quickly in a moment, though, Mitch. But before we do that, we'll just look at the French team, of course. No doubt, full of confidence, having had the top two places in Merizet's last week, Matthias Tressier and Jordan Dubinard. and of course Tino Buan, who's riding on the circuit on the Friday night, the night before. So they will probably come to tapes well prepared for battle the French on Saturday night.
Yeah,
I think.
they're all young. Yeah, they're young, strong, and I think they slot as one of the top four.
Yeah. No, they're young, but sometimes they're also a little bit wild. And we saw them last year in the under 23 meeting performing really well, but also crashing out all. So that's something. And if they can get that under control, the guys that matured a year, I think they're absolutely will be in there, 100%.
Yeah,
It comes back to
strong.
that consistency, doesn't it? I think, I've seen Jordan win races and then come last in races.
Yeah.
So really it depends what sort of night they have. But I think it's coming home.
You do. You think the Brits are the ones, do
I
you?
think I think the Brits are going to bring it home. They'll just have a little bit too much for the rest. I think we've got strength and depth.
Well, we've
I
got
think that
we've
will
got
put us in good stead.
we've got a very strong looking side on paper, of course. Chris Harris, uh, Zach Vechta, Andrew Appleton, all three of them right up there on the World Long Track Championship standing. Zach, of course, was leading it until the incident in Chasel. And Mitch, which you pointed out last time, they all know how to ride Vechta.
Yeah, they had the Grand Prix there last year, and all there's only 5 riders in the Grand Prix final, and 3 of them was our team. They all 3 of them were in that final last year, so they've all been there many times before. Andrew's making good starts, and he's fast now. Zach's starts are amazing. I can't. He's consistent. The consistency he's got of making starts and then getting his head down and just going is absolutely awesome. And Chris has just got his magic bag on his shoulder and just sprinkles a bit of dust, and you get pure Chris Harris, don't you? Um, he defies logic, he defies gravity, he defies all reasonable um, theories. When Chris Harris is on it, and when there's a world title on the line, and he's got 3 lions on his chest, there's no stopping him.
Mm. Yeah, he's definitely going to be up for it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, our structure for our team is we're going to run our 3 riders in every race. Cameron's going there as effectively as a junior reserve, very much like James Shanes did in 2015 in Waldorf. He's going there to learn and you know meet the guys and try and communicate with the guys and learn about how the setup, not just the racing but the setting up and what changes that they're doing to their bikes, and be around them, sharing information. That's sort of Cameron's role. But I know full well if there's a problem with one of our 3, he's going to have to put his shoe on, put his helmet on, and get out there and mix it up as well.
Mm. Yeah, be interesting to see what happens if he does get a call up, because he doesn't. As we said earlier, he doesn't hang about, Cameron.
No.
He's
But if we needed him, he's not going to be a fish out of water. If Cameron's got to come in for a race, with the format, it's 3 English against 3 Czechs, or 3 English against 3 French, or 3 English against 3 Finns, and they're not all. They're different levels in those other teams. There's different levels of riders, so there is someone on his level in nearly every team. So even if Cameron was in the team, and he's not going to be detrimental to the team, because as long as he's taken a point off someone, it's working for us. So if he has to come in and beat Mika Meyer, then that's what he's got to do. Don't shake your head, Patrick.
Won't happen. No.
But
I think he's a good rider, and he really has got a chance. And we have to be honest, the Brits are looking really strong, and I think they're going to be the team to beat, and I want to beat them. That's quite simple. But you need in these meetings you need everything coming together, and I think the Brits have the strongest riders out there, and probably also a strong team. But I
The
think,
thing is also, Patrick, with this format for this event, it's in the past it's been the top scoring team was the winner. Now
yeah,
it goes to a gold race off. So
yeah,
basically, the top two teams go to a final, and then in that final, the points are on zero. So in that final, it's just one team against another team. All the other points,
yeah,
the 50 points, 40 points, whatever, are all out the window.
yeah,
Now, that it's all about scoring a heat advantage. So even if you go to the line and you, for example, and I've seen this before with the Germans, I can't remember where. I think it might have been Morris a few years ago. I think Bernd Diener went through the tapes
yeah.
at Morris, and then everyone was, "Oh no, the Germans can't win with two riders." But of course you can,
It
because
was in Vuelta.
oh, it's Wurtle, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you know, if you get a first and a second, that's 9 points, and the other team can only get third, fourth, and fifth, which is 6 points. So that's a nine
yeah,
six. You can even win with two riders having a first and a third. That's an 8 point, and the other team will only have 7 points. So even with two riders, you don't even have to be first and second, and you can still win. So it's
yeah,
all about the combined score of the team and packing in the places. I mean, when we won in Waldorf in 15, it was the total score, and we knew then that we had to score. I think we had to get a 10 in the last heat, which is what we did against Netherlands. Actually, sorry, Patrick, but they weren't in contention for the medals on that day. But we had to
yeah,
score a 10 in that last heat, which gave us a shot at the. Depending on how all the others scored, that gave us a shot at the podium. So.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it comes down to one race, and hopefully, we'll work hard all evening. Same with all the other teams. We'll be trying their best to
Yeah.
be in that top two teams. Make a start, and then just ride ride for their lives.
Mm.
Absolutely. And then I want the best team to win for sure, and I hope it's gonna be my team. And if not, then well, if I have to lose to Mitch, okay, I can accept that.
It's
Uh,
when was the last time that the Dutch team won? I know that they won it. I think they won. Did they win in Swingfield
they
in
They
did.
won at Swingfield, yeah.
Yeah,
2013?
That
we
was 13.
did. Yeah, we won the last time in 2023 here in Roden
Right. Yeah.
with a brilliant Romano Hummel. He was on fire that day. He was driving like never before. It was amazing to see him ride. He passed in the final. He passed Riss and Smolinski in one maneuver. And I think both of those guys are still at home on the couch watching the video, what actually happened. It was amazing. And we really had a good meeting there. And the track was working for us there. And I hope it will be this weekend again. But like I said, the strongest team has to win, and if we are the strongest team, then I want us to win. And if the Brits have the strongest team, let them win, and I
Yeah.
hope we will be there in second or third place
Yeah. Well,
Whatever happens, Patrick, we'll have a beer afterwards for sure.
for sure.
yeah.
We'll bring in the bikes into the tent, and then we'll do a burnout there.
Well, in Vechta, they got the VIP tent. We'll have to bring them
Yeah,
into the
we do it
VIP
over there.
tent.
Well, of course the format, as you've mentioned, is that you have one country versus the other throughout the night, and the meeting starts with the Germans versus the Czechs in Heat One, and then the Scandinavian war, if you like, Danes versus the Finns in Heat Two, and then Patrick and Mitch, it's the Dutch versus the Brits in Heat Three. So we don't
Yep.
have to wait very long before we get down to it, do we?
No, no.
No,
Let it be heat three and the last heat of the night.
yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
there we go. Yeah, that could be the bookend for the meeting. That would be nice. I
Yeah.
think having enjoyed all of the grass tracks that I have in the Netherlands, I think that obviously I want the Brits to win, but I would be more than happy for the Dutch to come second. And I think Romano Hummel's probably my favourite rider, um, aside of the Brits as well. So yeah, that's where I'm going. I think first and second for us. That's what I reckon. The rest of the world will listen to the podcast and hate us all. Uh,
Yeah, let them. Let
but who
them.
cares? Who cares? Who cares about them? No, I hope it's a fantastic night for you both, for Mitch and for Patrick. I hope that it all is as well. I was going to say stress-free, but I don't think it will be stress-free. I've no doubt it will be very stressful. But I'm sure that, as you've mentioned, the beer and the Flugel bottles will feel much sweeter afterwards. So
For sure.
have a good evening there. I'm sure it'll be brilliant. It'll be absolutely brilliant. We'll be watching, won't we, lads? We'll all be watching on the telly.
Yeah.
Gareth,
Yep.
Cool.
worth a good luck to Thomas Vinning, who's taken part in the B license.
At Vechta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Saturday afternoon.
Is the B license on Barnsport fan site? I don't think it is it?
No, it's not. It's on the Vechta
I
site.
think the guys will do the results.
Oh, brilliant! So we can
Yeah.
keep an eye on Thomas and how he's getting on. But yeah, he's had a couple of goes now out abroad and it's gone well. So yeah, it's good to hear that he's getting out there again. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack, the Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing. Grasstrack Banter, the Grasstrack Banter Podcast, the wonderful world of Grasstrack racing.